This free step-by-step video comes to you directly from Haynes, creators of the world's best repair manuals. Fix your car or truck the right way with our accurate and reliable information at your side. You can complete more than 200 jobs on this vehicle when you purchase the complete online manual at Haynes.com.
Thermostat Replacement. Drain the primary or secondary cooling system, depending on which thermostats are being replaced. Primary thermostats. Remove the engine cover if equipped. Release the hose retaining clip, then disconnect the upper radiator hose. Remove the thermostat housing bolts. Lift off the thermostat housing. Note that there are two thermostats used within a single housing. The thermostats are combined into one unit and are not serviced separately. Note the orientation of the thermostat assembly and the air bleed valve. Then remove it along with the O-ring. Discard the old O-ring. Make sure to clean the sealing surfaces thoroughly and make sure nothing falls into the thermostat opening. It's a good idea to stuff a rag into the opening until you're ready to install the thermostat. Be sure to use a replacement thermostat that's identical to the old thermostat. Compare the old and new thermostats carefully before installing new ones. Install the thermostat with a new O-ring gasket. Make sure that the spring end faces down toward the engine and the air bleed valve is to the rear of the engine. Carefully position the thermostat housing over the thermostats, aligning the dowel pins, then install the retaining bolts. Tighten the thermostat housing mounting bolts to the specified torque setting. Do not over-tighten the thermostat housing bolts. Doing so will crack or distort the housing. Clean the area around the hose connections, then slide the spring clip inward until it locks in place, and push the upper hose quick connect fitting onto the thermostat housing. Secondary thermostats. To gain access to both secondary thermostats, the radiator grill will need to be removed. Working on the top of the radiator grill, remove the hood seal push pins. Remove the push pins and retaining screw, then pull the grill slightly forward. Using a long screwdriver, disengage the lower grill clips, then lift the grill off of the vehicle. High temperature secondary thermostat. Remove the plastic push pins holding the air deflector over the thermostat cover. Place a drain pan underneath the thermostat. Remove the thermostat cover bolts. Carefully pry the thermostat cover off, then remove the thermostat. Expect coolant loss as this is done. Be alert, since the thermostat cover is upside down, the thermostat will fall out when the cover is removed. Remove the thermostat O-ring from the cover. Clean the thermostat cover, then install a new O-ring into the groove on the cover. Lubricate the O-ring with a film of coolant before the cover is installed. Install the thermostat and cover at the same time, making sure that the spring end faces up toward the housing and the tabs on the cover are aligned with the slots in the housing. Then install the bolts. Make sure the O-ring on the cover is not being pinched. Tighten the cover bolts evenly until the cover is fully seated. Tighten the thermostat cover mounting bolts to the specified torque setting. Low temperature secondary thermostat. Here is the location of the low temperature secondary thermostat at the other side of the secondary radiator. It is replaced in the same way as the high temperature secondary thermostat. Place the grill onto the front of the vehicle, aligning the lower tabs on the grill with the clips in the body. Then snap the bottom of the grill into place. Working on the top of the radiator grill, install the grill upper fasteners, then install the hood seal and related fasteners. Connect the cables to the negative battery terminals on both batteries and tighten the cable nuts securely. Refill the primary or secondary cooling system. Cooling system filling. Connect the cables to the negative battery terminals on both batteries and tighten the cable nuts securely. Place the heater temperature control in the maximum heat position. Place a piece of cardboard onto the driver's side of the radiator. This will help speed up the engine heating process. A suitable clamp can be used to hold the cardboard in place. Place a funnel in the primary expansion tank, then slowly fill the expansion tank with the correct mixture of antifreeze and water to the cold fill mark. Install the cap on the expansion tank until it clicks once, then loosen the cap a half a turn. The cap must not be sealed at this stage, to allow air to bleed from the system as necessary. Slowly fill the secondary expansion tank with the correct mixture of antifreeze and water to the max mark. Then install the cap onto the tank loosely as well. Start the engine and let it idle for a minute or two. Check the coolant level in both tanks and refill them as necessary to maintain them at the correct levels. Be sure again to place the caps loosely onto the tanks if removed. Increase the engine speed to approximately 2000 RPM for 2 minutes. After 2 minutes at 2000 RPM is complete, run the engine at idle until the primary thermostat opens. This can be known by feeling the upper radiator hose. If the hose is hot to the touch, the thermostat has opened. Once the thermostat opens, check and refill the coolant tanks as necessary to the maximum marks. The primary tank level should be about 3/4 of an inch above the cold fill mark when the engine has heated up. Turn the engine off. Unclamp and remove the cardboard. Restart the engine again and allow it to idle for 5 minutes. Fill the coolant tanks again as necessary to maintain them at the maximum levels. Once both levels appear stabilized, install the caps securely onto the tanks to provide a sufficient cooling system seal. Turn off the engine.